the numbers of manufacturing jobs that are lost, especially in the Rust Belt. And the Rust Belt is so incredible, but we're losing companies. It's unbelievable, one after another, just one after another.
A little more of the president-elect earlier today in Indianapolis as he pushes to keep those manufacturing jobs here in the United States. We're joined by Scott Paul from the Alliance for American Manufacturing, where he is the president. Scott, it's good to see you. I want to pick up on a conversation that Melissa and Karl Rove were having a moment ago about creating an environment where these manufacturing-based companies would like to stay or be incentivized to stay in the United States. So do you think, after hearing what you heard today at Carrier, that we're on the path to really doing that?
I do. I'm optimistic. It obviously takes the assent of Congress for some of this, along with the president. But I think he's laid the framework here, and I think he's done it in a couple of ways. Number one, he's reiterated his desire for a more robust look at trade policy, trade reform that could help domestic manufacturing in particular, a tax code that is friendlier to keeping jobs here in the United States. And I would also say, I imagine in corporate boardrooms around the country, when they're making sourcing decisions now, which they do almost every day somewhere, the fact that this issue has been raised to such a high profile is going to be a factor from here on out.
The other factor, though, as they're having those conversations, is always going to be cost. We've done so many stories on this over the years, and we'll show you now the average manufacturing compensation in different countries around the globe. Germany's at the top at $42 an hour, followed by the United States at $37. Mexico all the way down there just below $6. So how do you close that gap? I know there are ways to close it, but that is a giant gap between a country like Mexico or China and the United States and Germany.
Yeah, it sure is, and there's no question about it. And I don't want to see U.S. wages go down. I don't think that was the lesson that we learned from this election. It's that there's a lot of pain being felt. You mentioned Germany. Here's a great example. Germany has twice the amount of manufacturing in its economy than we do in our own. It actually leads us in the share of global exports. It's been able to hold steady while our share of global exports has gone down along with the rise of China. So what does Germany do? And I'm not going to focus on the regulatory aspects here, but Germany believes in vocational education. Germany believes in research and development and innovation that's going to be geared towards manufacturing. Capital is a little more patient in Germany. They're not as focused on the quarterly earnings. They're focused on the longer game. There's something that we can probably learn from that and apply that American spirit of entrepreneurship and do a whole lot better. But we have to believe that there's a future for us in manufacturing. I obviously
well, that's the thing,
believe that.
That's a change, obviously, in your position, and some others don't. Some say, well, we need to change to the jobs of the so-called future, right? You've heard that argument over and over, that it's got to be more about innovation and technology and what's next as opposed to manufacturing, which, as that argument goes, is our past.
Yeah, but, you know, Indiana's a state that has 30% of its economy in manufacturing. It's the largest sector. So there's no reason to believe that even in an age of autonomous vehicles and robotics and 3D printing that we can't have some success. This is still a built environment that we live in. There's a lot of stuff that's made every day. The real question is, where is it going to be made? And I think there's a great case to be made that we can do it here with those right policies. And if we believe in the United States, and we're underserved in our own market. There's a lot of potential to grow right here if we can bring those companies back to the United States.
Okay, Scott, good discussion, all prompted by this Carrier news today. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.